On today's episode, Elite Week continues with another one of your elite contenders for World's Toughest 2018, Alex Walker.
This is the World's Toughest Podcast. Welcome to the World's Toughest Podcast, where we talk about any obstacle course race you'd like, as long as that's World's Toughest Mudder. Each week we talk to members of the WTM community and share stories of success and failure in the single greatest event in OCR. My name is Will Hicks, and this is the World's Toughest Podcast.
Welcome back to World's Toughest Podcast. My name is Will Hicks. Thank you for listening. We are literally days away from World's Toughest Mudder, like single digits. So I hope you are ready. Just kidding, you'll never be ready, but show up anyway. Thank you for listening to the number one obstacle course racing podcast in the world. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you reviewing the show on Apple Podcasts and keeping us number one. Today on our show, Alex Walker. Alex is one of my dark horse picks to finish in the top 5, maybe even in the top 3. She's not really a dark horse if you've followed the sport, but she's never run World's Toughest Mudder before. This is her first year even running a toughest mudder, and she's done well. She's done well, especially on the Savage Race and the Spartan Race circuit. So Alex Walker could make some noise. So remember, you heard about her here first. Before we talk with Alex, I want to remind you about 3 things. One is you can win a free pair of Merrill Agility Peak Flex or Merrill All Out Crush 2.0s by texting the word tough to the number 22828. That's the word tough to the number 22828. I will be wearing the Merrill Agility Peak Flex at World's Toughest, and I'm bringing a pair of All Out Crush as a backup. That stressed me out a lot my first year at World's Toughest. What shoes do I need to wear? What shoes do I need to wear? Just calm down. You'll be all right. Get a pair of Merrill Agility Peak Flex and some Mud Gear socks, and you'll be fine. Don't forget to email me with your picks. The top 3 men, top 3 women. Who do you think is going to win the race? Who will finish on the podium? Email me at World's Toughest Podcast with So Smart WTM in the subject line. And if you pick all 6 podium winners and the correct positions correctly, you will win a free sticker. And I will call you on air to personally congratulate you for that sticker. Well done. That's World's Toughest Podcast at gmail.com with So Smart WTM in the subject line. Good luck. And I mentioned it before, be sure to leave a review for the show on Apple Podcasts. Podcast hosts like to say that it helps the show. It actually legitimately does. When I was reading through some older reviews of our show, before we had the listener base, we already had a lot of reviews. People were leaving a lot of reviews for the show. That opened doors for us, and I am grateful. So please review the show on Apple Podcasts. If you're like, hey, I like the show, what can I do? Hey, review the show on Apple Podcasts, and you are awesome. What else can I tell you about Alex Walker before we talk with her? She is from Texas. She is a dental hygienist, and she is going to run World's Toughest Mudder for the first time with many of you for the first time in a few days. It's time to talk to Alex Walker. Let's go to the phones. Alex Walker, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
This is going to be your first year at World's Toughest Mudder. What are your plans?
Ooh, I have no idea. I guess make it through 24 hours is really the main goal.
We've talked a little bit online. You've got some good questions about gear and equipment, and you sound like you're coming in pretty prepared.
Yeah, definitely. I've done my research, and I've talked to you. I've talked to Morgan. I've talked to Mark Jones and a couple other people, and just kind of picked everybody's brains as much as I could so that I don't go into this blindsided, I guess.
What are some of the areas you've prepared in?
I've definitely upped my mileage running wise. But other than that, I've just kind of been focusing on learning what people use for nutrition, because you long time, 24 hours to not know what to eat, what not to eat, things like that. And then I've learned a lot about like socks and shoes and wetsuits and how to put your wetsuit on and all that kind of fun stuff.
What is your nutrition plan?
I'm going to bring everything I normally like to eat, and then everybody has told me to bring things that I might not think about because you never know what your body's wanting.
For example?
I'm not a big fan of eating solid foods, but I do like peanut butter jelly sandwiches. But I've had people mention like Red Bull, coffee, but not to take it till like later on because you don't want to do it the first 12 hours. So everybody kind of has their own view on it. But I'm just going to see what my body will take and not take. And then I've kind of tried things like Snickers and then gone and ran, and then eating watermelon and going and running just to see what my body will keep down and what it doesn't. Because I've heard people throw up sometimes, which I don't want to do.
You know, there's a balance because you want stuff that's easy on your stomach, but you don't want stuff that's going to go right through you.
Right.
What is your wetsuit plan?
So I just got a wetsuit. Actually, I was talking to Brian Gawiski because he has the same wetsuit. So I was so worried because everybody keeps talking about like have two different kinds and you should have a thicker one and a thinner one and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what the weather is going to be like. I feel like Atlanta is very much like Texas, bipolar. So like 1 minute it could be like warm and the next minute it's going to be really cold. So we just don't know what's going to happen until the week of. So I have a long suit and we'll see what happens.
You're like a long one piece?
Yeah, I have a shorty that I used for Toughest Austin, and it worked great. And then when I got really hot in it, I just kind of let water in it. And then I ordered like a long suit. It's supposed to come in this weekend so I can play with it and see what I like and jump in and out of the lake. So we'll see.
You're going to bring both of them though?
Yes, I'm going to bring I'll probably have more gear than I probably should have, but I'd rather be super prepared.
You know what? It's your first year. That's totally my first year. I filled up the back of a Lincoln Navigator with probably enough stuff for 8 people, and it was just me and my sister. So there's no shame your first year, especially. Bring everything.
Yeah, I just have no idea. So I figure the more I have, then at least I can either have it and not be like, oh man, I should have brought that. So we'll see how that goes.
You mentioned Toughest Mudder Texas. We both ran that, and you did good. You finished at 4th place in your first Toughest Mudder.
I did.
What did you think of the 8-hour race?
I loved it. I kind of went in not really sure how it was going to be starting out at midnight. And then also I work with Yancey. And so we didn't really alter my training for it. So we just decided to see what my body could do. So I had a blast. I like night running a lot more than I like day running.
Why is that?
I work out at night, so.
It's a different experience with the headlamp and with, it's a lot quieter usually.
Yeah, like it's almost like you're in your own head versus like during the day, you kind of, I notice when I run in like the mornings, because I don't work on Fridays, I'm kind of more paying attention to everything else around me versus at night, I kind of just get in my own head and do my own thing.
Has Yancey given you any advice for World's Toughest Mudder?
Oh, yeah. We've messaged back and forth, and we just made sure like I have the gear, and then he just talks about things that they have done. And, Morgan works with him too. So a lot of tire pulling and things like that. And just to know that at some point my body's not going to be happy and just kind of accept that.
What do you do when you get to that point where your body's like, nope, we're done?
I guess I've been in worse situations, so I just kind of push through it.
Worse than running 24 hours?
I'm sure. I mean, I had a child, so I think childbirth would probably be worse than running 24 hours, but I guess I'm about to find out, right?
When my daughter was born, I was asleep on the couch, and afterwards, I was asleep on the couch, and my daughter was, on my wife's chest, and I got up, and the nurse was there, and I said, I don't know about you guys, but I am exhausted. And they didn't think it was funny at all.
I'm surprised you walked out of that room.
So what's your goal for your first year? Do you have a mileage goal, or are you just going to kind of see how it comes to you?
Yeah, I don't really have a mileage goal. I've been asked that quite a few times recently, so I just kind of want to see what my body can do in 24 hours, and if I'm feeling good, I'll feel good, and if I'm not, then I'll just shuffle along and hopefully just continue on. I feel like it's such a long time that like anything can happen,
No, you're right. Anything you can roll an ankle going off a hill and you end with 5 miles, or you could run 90 and win it your first year, like Rhea did last year.
Yeah, so you just don't know how your chips are going to fall that day.
That's really good advice. I've talked to several elites in their first time, and they just kind of say, "I'm going to take it." Most of us non-elites, when we come to our first year, you'll hear multiple people say, "Oh, 50 miles is my goal. 75 miles is my stretch goal." But I think that's wise to go in and just say, you know what? It's my first year. I'm going to try my hardest. I'm going to last 24 hours and see what happens.
Yeah, whatever I come. I mean, I'd like some big mileage, but, I don't know what my body's going to do 10, 15 hours into this.
You said you like running at night better than during the day. Do you think that'll give you an advantage during the night hours?
I hope so. I think so. I just like it. Like, I thought about going to California for the day race, and then I was like, nah, I don't want to run through the day.
It was a different experience. It was still fun, but it was a very different experience.
I could see that. I heard that because I listened to your podcast on it, and then I've listened to quite a few other people, like Heather Bodie's podcast on it, and I'm sure it's different. There's something about running at night. Like, nobody can see you. You only see headlamps. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of fun.
And if you're in the back, you get to see all the flashers. It looks like Christmas, kind of.
Yes. And then that's the other thing that's going to be interesting for Atlanta is, like, you're going to be in the forest versus the desert. So that should be fun.
That's true. It's not going to be in Vegas. You could look out and kind of see the people all over. Here in Atlanta, it's not going to be like that at all.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about your job?
Yeah,
I've had a conversation, a kind of an ongoing conversation with Christopher Mendoza, and he's a dentist. And Chad Trammell, another 100-miler, is a dentist. And then we were talking about, he said, Alex Walker, she's a dental hygienist also. Flossing is a scam, right?
No, it is not a scam. That is not something to tell a hygienist.
So I can tell everyone that. It's okay?
No, you can't. I even told Yancy, I was like, I'm going to be brushing my teeth probably every 4 laps because I can't imagine how gross my mouth is going to feel after eating food and goo and all of that stuff for 24 hours.
I have seen thousands of world's toughest athletes. I have never seen a single one brush their teeth.
Well, you'll see me brush my teeth. I might not floss them for the 24 hours, but I'll definitely brush them.
Alex, do you have any sponsors or anything you like to plug?
Yeah, I'm sponsored by Mud Gear, and EndurElite takes care of my pre-workout. And then Yancy and I work together with Yancy Camp. So if anybody is looking to do some training, you can always sign up under me.
Talk about that. Yancy gives you workouts, and then people can sign up under you and get the same workouts Yancy's giving you.
Yes, so you can do, you sign up for Yancy Camp. There's different athletes, and, we all do different things, and you just sign up under an athlete that you think fits what you're training for. And then you get 3 to 4 workouts of that week. And then you get to do that during the week, and you can ask us questions. And, I'm always open. Even if you're not training with me, people can send me messages, and I'm always answering on social media.
How can people find you on social media?
You can look me up on Facebook as Alex Walker. And then on Instagram, it's Alexandra Celeste Walker.
Alex, any last thoughts on World's Toughest Mudder?
I hope to have a lot of fun and hope to see. I like the Tough Mudder community. It was kind of interesting helping each other on obstacles. It's very different for me. So I think that's going to be fun to try something different like that.
Alex Walker, thanks much.
Appreciate it.
Special thanks to Alex Walker for appearing in this episode. Well done, Alex. Good luck in Atlanta later this week. Next week, really. Elite Week rolls on. This is episode 99 of the podcast. Our next episode will be episode 100 with Amelia Boone. I've already talked with Amelia, but I'm finalizing some stuff for episode 100. So if the next episode you hear is episode 101, just understand 100 is coming, but we might skip it and then come back. I'll let you know. Leave a review for the show on Apple Podcasts. I will talk with you soon. Go spend time with someone you love.